Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another deep dive, volume 2 for 2025 Jobman webinars. So today we have the great, exciting privilege of being able to show you our new academy. Nice and easy to get to, www.academy.jobman.com. I'm going to show you an easy way to get there in a moment. And right now we have built a fantastic course structure. It has about 69 lessons in it, and each of those lessons is broken down into some really easy to follow guides. Lots of information and pictures. I mean, we certainly are aware from our experience of 15 plus years of implementation of software in the market that a lot of people are visual learners. So it's good to have things in a really structured format and be able to see what you're trying to achieve. But most importantly, now you can have this up on a separate screen, be operating inside Jobman, and then follow the guide through. And our hope is that will get you the absolutely best start possible. And then if you need to look out for further support from there, you can. So very exciting. I won't hesitate at all here. I want to jump straight in and show you the new LMS so you get a feel for what it looks like, how to find it, and other information relevant to setting up perhaps your account and course. It's very straightforward, very easy. We've made it as user-friendly as possible. So if you come to jobman.com and you go to support, you'll notice now that it's right there up the top in bold, the Academy, to go directly to our LMS. One of the great things about it is absolutely 100% free. And this is important for us. We know a lot of companies sell their training programs as part and parcel with their software platforms, so that people can buy the platform and then buy the LMS and then get up and running in their own time. And it sort of makes sense. But for us, we really want to provide as much education and value as possible to our clients. So it is 100% free to jump on there and sign up. And I've got the Academy open here. So very easy to manage. You can come straight in from that link to the Academy into my account, set up a new username and profile and email. Very easy to do. This is not the same credentials as your Jobman. You can use whatever you like. And the best part about it being free is that the courses themselves are linked to your individual profile. So if you want to run through this process, but you also have very important staff members as part of your organization who'd also like to be able to access this and go in, it's fully accessible by any member of your team. So they can come in, start their own course, sign up, and then follow through the plan as to where they go. So we've kept it nice and easy. It's not overly done. There's not a lot of information in here. We haven't tried to bomb the world. We just wanted to make it very simple for you to be able to come in, dive directly to the Academy, and then go into the courses. At the moment, there's one fantastic course in here, and we certainly are planning on expanding that in the future with more courses. But this is the main one. As you can see, 100% free. There's 69 lessons. Inside each of those lessons, there's a varying amount of actual course styles to follow through, but we've structured them in a way to make it really easy. So you can see here that you can come down and we've broken up each of the courses into their own lesson formats. So general navigation usability. So if you're new to the software, this represents an awesome opportunity to get to understand how to use the software, how to add columns, all that sort of stuff. One of the things that I love that the team has managed to add to this is it's not just typical documentation. We've also put in a lot of tips and tricks, some how-to guides, and things that they've learned from experience in training and managing implementation with clients to really help get you started. So the beauty of this is it means that you don't necessarily, if you're not a new user to the software or you're an existing user and you wish to come in and there's an area of the software you want to learn more about and maybe get some more use out of, and how can you configure and set the software up to really best benefit you, you can go directly to that course. And we've broken them up into the main courses or typical areas that people want to get up and running in the software, from the CRM to the job management through to how to manage the kiosk staff, quoting, which obviously is foundational to best use case of the software, catalog management and inventory, purchase ordering and inventory picking, which is a big one, including that flow, and then down to things like reporting. How can we utilize the reporting then from everything we've built? Use the custom filters, save custom reporting, and then some extra new fantastic lessons, which actually we managed to get in just before the launch. We were planning on launching this, and we thought, no, there's some huge development that's happened this year already. So we wanted to get those in and make sure you had access to learn about those. Those, of course, being the expansion on the job alerts and forms and payroll setup and time and attendance. And a very common question we get, which is how best to use our CAD in relation to Jobman. And a lot of clients come to Jobman because we have such a great open opportunity to integrate with many CAD programs and really get you the best foot moving forward there. So the beauty of it is once you've registered, entered your email and password and created your new account, you can simply come in and you can join this course and it'll remember, so you can always just come here directly from the home screen. And then as soon as you go into the documentation and running through the information, it's all structured beautifully. Everything's hyperlinked, so if you need to, dodge from error, if you feel like you've covered this enough, you can jump to the next area without necessarily having to do that course. If you want to run this end to end, which is certainly how we recommend each of the course structures are set up, you can come in, follow the documentation through. As you can see, plenty of imaging, plenty of in-account information, so you can really see what's happening and be able to sideline it with what's going on your screen, so you know exactly what you're looking at through the process, structured in a way to make it really easy to follow through and guide. And like I said, some tips and tricks, some FAQs, things that we commonly get as support questions. We thought, let's get all the information in there so that everyone has an opportunity to really get the best out of this software. And the best part, of course, is once you've done that, you can simply mark that course as complete. It will now remember that you've done it and move you into the next area, or you can use the locations down the bottom to be able to previously manage between previous lessons and next lessons if you feel need to run through. Not every one of the course template lessons is that extensive or long. Most of them focus really quickly and easily on how to achieve the one thing you're looking for. So the great thing about this, the way we've structured this, like I said, is you can come into your course, you can see your progress as you're going through. For those of you who are a bit like me and a bit of a completionist and like to really get things done, then that information will keep you up to date. You know where you're up to. And most importantly, if you just have a specific area you want to tackle, you can go into the course and then follow the structure and go there without having to go through the whole lesson academy. Really, really exciting stuff, and this is something we've been wanting to release for a while, and are absolutely pumped at the idea of getting out into the market. I think this will be a game changer for a lot of companies in their ability to really get the most out of the software, not just from the setup point of view, but also the ability to get your staff involved in the learnings of the platform. And sometimes that adoption process is just as important as the setup itself, because the more engaged the staff are in the use of the platform, number one, the more time that's going to buy you back as they're able to take more and more things off your shoulders as a business owner and operate those in your business with the platform. But also, people who are invested in your mission, your goal, in your company's success, whether that, that be simply financially motivated or they actually believe absolutely where you're going as a company, typically like to be engaged in understanding the platform they're using, and they can often create really great ideas around how to then best use the software. Where can we improve our processes, and what more can we do with Jobman? It's incredible. So many of our customers have been with us for many, many years, and they still really, by their own admission, only use 10 to 30% of the software, which is fantastic from a return investment point of view, to know that you can pick up a platform like this that does so much and only use a small part of it and then still see the absolute value add back into your business is great. But we've built this platform because we want you to have all the tools and have access to all those tools. And the more of the platform you can use, the more benefit we know it'll bring your business. So now you have a really structured way, even if you're only using Jobman as a CRM, for example, and you're just managing your lead flow, your contacts, and your quoting and your invoicing potentially. And you've thought, well, maybe now's the time. 2025 is the year where I want to go in and I want to start taking advantage of the automation into the job scheduling and job management. And then how can I feed that to my capacity and bring that and link that out to my agenda screens for full automation? And suddenly the whole team's on board with the platform that's operating end to end. And then quite often we get queries back to the support and training team around, okay, this is fantastic. The team's using, the kiosk mode. They're out on site. It'd be really awesome if they could have some checklists and forms that they could go in and fill out, so that we've got some accountability around what's happening at the end of our manufacturing process, whether it be dispatch or installation. And we're like, absolutely, go check out forms. You should build a few of those, and they're accessible by the kiosk, and they're linked to the users, and they have records and accounts, and they can take pictures. Little things like that, from a real world perspective, are phenomenal returns. And if it's just not something you've got around to looking at or building on the platform, or you haven't had the time, or you weren't even aware, that's one of the big things. Is it's such a big platform. It's hard to know everything that's happening in the software. So now you can see it in a nice structured layout. And of course, as our platform grows, the LMS will grow with it. We will ensure that the first step is always making sure there's documentation. If we can make videos around it as well, we'll make videos to help for people who enjoy more of a visual learning rather than reading learning experience. I will, of course, always try my best, or if not me, a member of the team, to get in here and make sure all the new features are covered in webinar formatting. And then, of course, we will update the LMS so that there's always a structured format, some reassurance. And I think realistically, for a lot of people that look at engaging with an ERP to come into their business, the number one fear factor that I see for most businesses is time and understanding. They can see the benefit to solution. There's no question there. They know the system is going to run pretty much their entire business. They know it's going to buy back their time. They know it's not money spent. It's an investment down that represents a huge return for them. But the difficulty is then, I guess, engaging the idea that if we don't get this thing up and running, we're not going to see the benefit of it. So now we have absolutely provided so many ways in which you can ensure that no longer needs to be a blocker for your business. And for companies that are happy to resource this themselves internally and utilize their time in a format that makes sense to them. Because let's be honest, everybody's busy. So this is one of the hardest things about an ERP is, whilst it looks phenomenal when you see the demonstrations and you might watch the videos and everything looks great, truth of the matter is it's going to take some investment and time to get it up and running. Jobman makes it as easy as humanly possible, wherever we can make your life easy, such as CSV importing into your catalog so you can quickly fill up your supplier information. And now you've got a platform that can be used for quoting, catalog management, inventory, purchase ordering, stock control, reporting, pick listing, very easily from that one functionality. It's not a difficult thing. It still takes a bit of time, and it's worthwhile having some understanding there. So now with the LMS, we really confidently feel that the Jobman Academy sits into that ecosystem of free education that we provide to our clients and can now absolutely help you get up and running. But it's not just there. We don't just stop there. We also do have a phenomenal amount of documentation. And one of the most common questions I get is, look, I can see what you guys are doing, and this is a fantastic platform. I can see the benefit, but what other opportunities do I have to get some more personalized help for my business? Because as anyone would know, anytime you invest in technology, whether it be machine or CAD, or even as simple as a life skill, such as buying a car. You buy the car, awesome. Now you got to go pay someone to teach you how to drive it. You know what I mean? You can probably learn, you can watch some YouTube manuals and try and figure it out yourself. But the truth is, if you want to be a really confident driver on the road, or have the best knowledge of how to utilize your CAD program to best, control your engineering sector of your manufacturing, then it's worth spending some money to get someone to help you do that. And I to this day, it still surprises me that people don't feel that they have that, or they might not even be aware that we offer those solutions. Because we spend so much time talking about the free, documentation and videos, and now the LMS and the support system, people just don't unaware. So something to be mindful of, and I definitely wanted this on recording, is that we absolutely have you covered. At any time, you can book in a paid training session with the training team. It's only 1 hour blocks at a time, or you can, I think, store up to 3 hours if you're in our native area, which is Western Australia. You can even book some direct help in Jobman at Jobman itself. You can book a day, come in and get it up and running. Or you can go in and book a few hours on Zoom for anywhere else in the world. And just that time spent confidently with an expert in the system to help you get where you want to go, when coupled with all the background information, education, and free offerings there, means you can get the software up and running comfortably, but more importantly, be confident that you set it up in the right way so that the foundation is built. We work in manufacturing. We understand the strength of primary foundation. If you have a good foundation to anything you build, everything that you build on top of it becomes better. So certainly do not be afraid to go in and book some hours. It's a very small investment realistically to be able to step forward and get the most out of your platform. And what you're really doing is you're buying back your time. You're paying to get someone to help you so that you don't have to sit there and read through the LMS and documentation, who can direct you and help you set that up quickly. More importantly, customized to the way your business thinks and how you want to manage and map your processes and get the most out of it. And you're buying back that time. If you think about what your hours are worth, there's potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars of savings back into your pocket just by spending a little bit of money up front. And it's not just that. We don't just have the free education and the LMS and the academy and the documentation, the videos and one-on-one training. We also are very fortunate to be engaged with and working with some phenomenal implementation partners. And they can then take this whole concept and then wrap it into another format for you. For example, Empire Blueprint at the moment is putting offerings into the market, which make real sense in getting your operational system up and running quickly. For example, they have a phenomenal new platform called Jobman Jumpstart. This is very exciting. It's a pricing structure based on the size of your business. It's an 8-week intense, not intense by time. It's actually a very limited amount of time from your end, but it's an 8-week structured course utilizing their learnings and their experience from implementing this software in many, many companies at a price that makes absolute sense, with a one-on-one guide there. We'll also go into your software and help build some of the information to really speed this process up and then give you the understanding and key learnings behind it, so that you can basically, if you are time poor, which so many companies are, come in and still pay basically upfront to get your time back. But more importantly, get the software up and running quickly and get it up and running how you want it. So absolutely phenomenal. And the reason I bring that up is simply because I don't ever want anyone to ever feel that if they're coming back into this software, or they've looked at a solution, or if they've seen one of our videos and their hesitation or their fear, and it is the most common fear I see, is I don't know how I'm going to get this thing up and running. So many options available to you, and all at a price point that makes absolute sense, in line with where our software sits in the market. I've read an interesting statistic the other day whilst at a conference for the Chamber of Commerce around additive marketing for Australian manufacturers, which is an exciting new development, which I'm sure many of you are aware of in your sector, as to the Australian government pushing initiatives to get Australian companies involved in technology. And one of the interesting stats they brought up was that the expectation of return on investment on a given ERP should be between 7 and 10% of turnover. And the expected cost for that ERP, including implementation, is about 2%. So if you think about where your business sits, let's say you're turning over $1 million a year, the idea that you can get Jobman into your business very easily and spend less than 20 grand a year, which you could, that size, $250 a month for the base package, and then maybe some training or jumping on the Jumpstart program with Empire Blueprint, or utilizing LMS. And keep in mind, if you're doing the work, that still is a time to cost benefit ratio. You know what I mean? Just because you're doing it, you're not paying someone else to do it, still means it's costing your business. It's costing your time, or someone in your business their time. So that still is a cost. But if you get that up and running for under $20,000 and then see a net 7 and 10% return each year, now we're talking about $100,000 a year back in your pocket for going through that process. It just makes sense. And the fact that Jobman comes way below those 2% numbers for most businesses, where they'd be 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, right up to $50 million turnover, is absolutely phenomenal. So we have you covered. We're here. We have as much information. We're looking forward to hearing the client feedback around the LMS itself. We absolutely are very excited to hear what you guys think, and any improvements. Like anything, it's a living part of our ecosystem, so it will improve in time, and we'll be adding to it. And we're very excited to see what a really great impact that makes on removing that fear, removing that doubt, and allowing people to step forward with the platform in a really concrete and confident sense. So we've got a couple more things for you today. That was obviously the big one, but there are a couple of new features that have come into the platform in the last couple of weeks, and I thought I'd quickly jump on those as well while we've got a bit of time. Obviously, LMS is very exciting, but there are some great new features. And the thing I love about these features that have come in is these have all been client driven. So something again that quite often we get high praise for is that Jobman is one of the few software companies on the planet where you have accessibility to us via the support team. You can go in at any point to the help menu and click on that help button and go directly to ask, answer as the documentation, ask us to the support team and ask a quick question. The team will come back to you. And quite often what our clients do is they will go in and make suggestions around how can the software get better. And what I love about our team is they're very proactive. If you think about Microsoft, for example, this is not something you can do. $1 trillion company, platform you use every day, but you can't just go to Microsoft and say, hey, it's really annoying that since your last update, I don't have a file button in my Outlook. I know I harp on that about all the time, but it's very annoying for me. You know what I mean? And just most software companies, you don't have that outreach, but we are very much a client-focused company. And as we're receiving feedback, we always say, hey, we're going to look at that. We're going to listen. We're going to think about that. And we put it to the side. We never make promises. We're a company that is very big on the idea of under-promising and over-delivering. So we never give ETAs or anything along those lines, but it does go into an area and we do think about it and we do take it seriously. And everything you're seeing here today is client focused. So if you were one of the many people that requested one of these features, thank you. We really do appreciate it. And I think one of the great things about these is they will provide a lot of benefit to every client, irrespective. So let's copy them off. The first big one is now the ability to copy target dates from parent job to work orders. So this is a big one. As many of you know, Jobman's job management structure is extremely intuitive. We have the ability for you to take a lead and a quote, push that into a job, and then utilize the automation of the software to set target dates and then have the system either work forwards or backwards. What I mean by that is either kick off from the start date when you've received the job or look at a contract date for where you need to dispatch or install, for example, and have the system work forwards or backwards. And it's very intelligent. It takes all those hours linked to those operations, looks at your capacity, looks at how much other work you've got going on, and then it runs that whole cycle to give you then the automation of how to schedule that job within your ecosystem currently. Of course, we then give you the ability to prioritize up and down to really manage your scheduling. But from a capacity and planning point of view, we've got you covered in a couple of clicks, which is phenomenal. As part of that, for a lot of companies, they also utilize what's called our parent to work order relationship. Now, work orders commonly are used for things like maintenance, recuts, reruns, a lot of areas where you can utilize work orders. But for many bigger businesses, or even not so big businesses, for many manufacturers, they like to break down and independently schedule areas of the job because it makes sense. So a good example would be, let's say you're a joinery business and you regularly take on larger housing projects or apartments or even units, for example. You may wish to run that job as a cohesive job. So you basically quote the whole job and it gets accepted and pushed forward. Now you have your values and times, but it's quite a big job. And you are not necessarily going to be able to tackle each area at the same time. For example, you might only get access to level 1 of the apartment building or commercial building this month, and then level 2 next month, level 3, and so on and so forth. So the beauty of the software is the ability to be able to break that large job, parent job, into smaller jobs, known as work orders, and then set independent target dates for each of those jobs. They run independently. And then the ultimate aim, of course, is when you get to the end of the job, you can wrap all those numbers up into the job costing and either look at it as a whole, as the parent plus all the work orders, how did we go, estimate versus actual, or you can even go in and independently look through each of the work orders. So overall, you might be happy with the performance, but you notice that there's a material percentage down in an area. So you might go into a particular work order and work out what happened. And you can see that on that particular work order in that area, maybe it took longer than expected, or you overordered, or a mistake was happened, something. So you've got a lot of flexibility. Now, that's not the only use case for work orders. A lot of companies utilize work orders to be out of smaller project managed jobs, or especially for industries where it doesn't necessarily make sense to run everything as one massive workflow. I'll give you a great example. Boat building. We have some great boat building companies that utilize Jobman and they love the software. And one of the benefits to their business is they kind of use the parent job workflow relationship as like the overview. It's the project management of the boat itself. But then they go in and they separate each of the manufacturing processes into completely different processes because they make sense. You've got an area of your business that handles the hull creation, You've got an area of your business that handles the joinery for the internal fit out. You've got the engine building, et cetera, and so forth. And this is very common in a lot of industries, including joinery and cabinet making. So what's great is you can take that parent job, you can separate out each of the manufacturing steps out into work orders. One of the downsides has been, though, however, they are independent jobs. So for some companies, they might produce upward of 20 to 50 work orders per parent job. So having to go into each and every single one of those work orders and reset those dates for scheduling can be a bit of a pain. Obviously, still way faster than trying to build out that entire thing on an Excel spreadsheet and a lot more benefit to your business. But still, time, it is a time consuming factor. And anywhere where we can save you time and improve efficiency, we are there. So one of the suggestions we had, and we absolutely loved it, was can we build an ability to copy a target date from the parent into work order slash. So essentially, if you set, say, the target date for this project or this large job will be the end of June. So you set that date in the parent. Basically, you want to backtrack that into a lot of the work orders so that you can then simply drop in, using the target calendar, for example, drop and drag some dates and quickly and easily manipulate how the project will look through your factory. You can now do that in one click. So going into the task management of parent job, you'll see the three dots. You can click on those three dots and you'll see an ability copy to work orders and field to copy, target date, and then you simply choose the work orders it's relevant to. And all the work orders are currently linked to this job will be there. So you can choose some, all, or one or two very easily, very quickly, and basically set up the scheduling for a large job or project in a matter of minutes, which is very exciting. So great to have that in the software. Looking forward to a lot of use cases there. No, you can absolutely get some benefit out of that. The next one was, and excuse my terrible picture here. It didn't, I zoomed right in so I could get the information, but it's unfortunately lost a bit of the clarity around there. This question has come in from a number of clients who handle purchase ordering deliveries, and the 95% use case is when you purchase order, you want it delivered to your warehouse, your factory, or your place of manufacturing. Makes the most sense. However, for some companies, there's a 5 to or 10% of the time, perhaps, where you might be running a job, and that job is specific to a builder or commercial architect or a particular company, and a lot of the work you will be doing is on site. So rather than have a delivery specifically go from your supplier, which is entirely for that one job, back to your warehouse and then have to pay someone to pick it up and take it out to site so that the work can be done out there with the materials on use case from the purchase order. There are opportunities there for some suppliers have good relationships with their companies to say, hey, actually, we'll just deliver out to site for you. You're paying the delivery charge anyway, why pay for it twice? Which is phenomenal. So what we needed to do was present a what's called a template for your purchase order, so you can make a custom purchase order template. And for those of you who are aware, in our templating, you can always have a default template. So this will cover the 95%. And then you can have other options for templates, such as quote templates, email templates, purchase order, invoice, etc. And this is one of those great examples where you can create an independent purchase order template, come in, maybe entitle it delivery to site, and then you can now use these new fantastic template variables to be able to step in and basically override the purchase order address, which would normally be your location, your factory, your warehouse, automatically built into the software, to now be the site address with a big note on there and delivery instructions, please deliver to site. So all handled, fantastic suggestion, and yet another fantastic addition to the software for people to utilize. This one's a big one. It's one of those weird things in when developing a software platform or any form of solution management where the common rule of thumb is what provides the most amount of benefit in the shortest period of time. So our purchase ordering flow is phenomenal. It allows companies to step in, batch order, bring those orders down, receive them. They come into inventory, allocated the jobs. The team can see them live on their kiosk, pick list them as they use the materials up, and it gives you a really phenomenal flow for managing your purchase ordering, and of course your reporting for things like stock levels and job cost. Absolutely fantastic. Jobman handles that really well. What sometimes happens, though, is there's always the case of what happens when things go wrong, when things potentially are accidentally done incorrectly, or maybe something, it was just a rushed sequence and we didn't get to follow the process properly, and things, as it turns out later, were not exactly as they seem. And one of the most common questions we've received is, what happens if my team accidentally receives the wrong item or the wrong quantity? How do we then go about fixing that in the system to make sure our numbers line up? And it is possible, but it's a bit of pain. There's a little bit of manual override to that. So one of the most commonly requested features in recent times has been, is there or can we build a way to unreceive purchase order items? And we said, absolutely, we reckon we can manage that. So that's now live in the software, which basically means if you've received or partially received a purchase order, you'll now see the button on that purchase order screen has been changed to receive/unreceive. So the beauty of that is I can go into any particular purchase order, whether it's been split. So even if it's been split out to a separated order, functionally works the same way. And I can come in here, click on that button, and it will basically take me to the screen and give me the ability then to unreceive some of those items. And I can unreceive all at a click, or I can choose an independent quantity. What that will do is it'll do two things. It will step back into the software and take you back to the purchase order, and you'll notice that it will move, if previously fully received, it will automatically update the status to now partially received, so that excuse me, so that you can see the quantities that have been put back in are waiting, ready to go. You will notice that these will be set up as line items. So you do also have a little bit of independent control as to where you're going to receive them in. Reason being, as we know, is one of the big benefits of the software is because we allocate job materials to jobs, when received into the inventory, that accountability or transparency is available in the software from everyone, from the front end to the back end. Office users and kiosk users can see that. So it makes it really easy for your team to diagnose where materials are designed for. Just because I look at the shelf and I see 10 hinges, do I actually have 10 hinges, or 8 of them assigned to jobs currently, and we've actually only got 2 in stock? So the beauty of this now is you can bring those numbers back. The purchase order will change status back to partially received. And then when you receive the final goods in from the supplier, if it was a partial shipment, you can then go in and then fully receive as per normal. Or more importantly, if someone accidentally stuffs something up and you're looking at receivable flow and some goods are brought into the system, but someone accidentally said 10, and as it happened, the supplier actually only delivered 8. And when you're doing the double check, you quickly check that. You can now unreceive back the 2, contact the supplier, get them brought in, finalize the process. So really exciting feature. I can see this getting a lot of use from companies, and certainly a worthwhile suggestion that a lot of people brought to our attention. So really exciting to see the software just getting better and better week on, week out. The last one, which is probably my favorite, is something that we've been a bit excited about for a while, is in the job and lead screen now, we have a shortcut key. So this is something we've always been pretty excited about providing. One of the great things about Jobman is we try our best as much as possible to hyperlink the entire software. So what that means is you don't have to spend a lot of time going around the platform. For example, from the dashboard, you can go into an agenda screen, look at the tasks that are relevant today. And if you need to make a change to a particular job or some information about a lead or a task, you can click on the hyperlink. It'll take you directly into the job, make the change. You don't have to go from that screen down to the job screen, find the job, do this. You know what I mean? Like it is a phenomenal platform from user case to limit the number of clicks as fast as possible. And it's a big thing the team considers whenever they produce a feature in Jobman. However, can always get better. So one of the common requests we get is when looking at, especially the job screen, not so much the lead screen, but definitely the job screen, is there's a couple of really important features or functionality that people like to do quickly. One of them, of course, being the ability to update priorities. So if you have a list of, say, 10 jobs and you filter to status, and the status is pre-production, and you're looking at which of those jobs to move up the agenda screens quickly, there's a couple of ways of achieving that. Number one, obviously modifying the target dates and bringing that forward. But the most common and simple way, especially when you've got multiple jobs on the go, is to update the priority. So that's a big one. Another one is members. Allocating members now has huge power and functionality in the software. For those of you who are taking benefit of members and member types and that ability to quickly, choose one member and then bang, automatically assign a heap of tasks and operations to them, as well as notify them It's a very exciting and powerful function to allow you to schedule really finitely in the system, as well as taking advantage of our lean manufacturing principles, that pool manufacturing concept of simply set the jobs, move it to the department area, and have them use the agenda screens to control their flow. Full automation, buying back your time. But we know there are many use cases, and a common example would be, for example, installation teams. People want to set those members, isolate, because they have different teams working in different areas. It makes sense looking at those 5 jobs. Which one do I want to push out to that team? I want to notify them, give them the information, and make it really quick and easy. And the other one, of course, is tasks. So the you've got many tools in the software to change target dates. Target calendar being probably one of the best for fast rescheduling. But a lot of times you want to be able to go in directly to the task menu, make some small alterations, maybe bring in some other operations or tasks through the job types, or simply reconfigure some dates based on some new information. Supplier rings you up and says, "Hey, we've got your, we might be doing some upholstery or some painting or some epoxy work for you, and we thought it was going to be a week, and we've been slammed now. It's going to be 2 weeks." So they quickly ring you up and say, "Hey, on jobs 1567 and 2644, we're not going to be able to get those back to you by the 14th. They're actually going to be on the 19th. We apologize. We're just getting slammed at the moment." So you want to be able to quickly and easily go to that area, modify those dates, because that then is going to impact the rest of your manufacturing. Though by the time you get those doors back, it's now, or whatever part of the manufacturing process is being sprayed or painted. There's now going to be an impact on your real dispatch or installation. So you want to just quickly dive into those jobs, go directly to those tasks, move those dates, and then recalculate the forward date. So you now have a true idea of when this job will be going out the door and when you'll be getting paid. So with all that in mind, all of that was quite easy to achieve in the software. You could go into the job itself and do it. But if you had to make multiple changes in a consecutive fashion, it could take you a bit of time. So now we've put this fantastic little shortcut menu into leads and jobs. You will notice it's a column now it's called a hamburger menu. I believe it's something to do with the visuality of what this looks like. It looks like a hamburger. And you can click on those 3 dots, and now these options will appear for you to be able to take you directly inside that job or lead to the members area, the priority area, or the task area. So it's very quick to the job screen, filter by the whatever filter you need to quickly narrow down those jobs, grab that job directly in, make the change. Back to the job screen, next one, in. So in a matter of just a couple of very quick clicks, you can isolate and impact information far quicker in the system. And let's face it, anything we can do to buy you back click time just makes the software even easier and better to use for your company, and buys you back those precious seconds, which adds up over a period of time. So very exciting, great little feature. Probably one of my favorite. I know the others are probably your favorite because they're very user case benefit to client. But that little one there, just for that everyday use case of being able to dive directly to things, for me certainly strikes a chord with a lot of conversations I've had with many clients. So really exciting. Like I said, the thing that I absolutely love about this is that we do listen. We're not just some faceless corporation hanging around in the world taking your money. We do actually listen. We are always excited to make the solution even better for our client basis, and anything we can do to improve the process and improve the software, we'll certainly take genuinely and seriously. So as always, thank you so much for jumping on board. This is a really exciting webinar. Just couldn't wait all week. I've been really excited to jump in and announce the LMS and the new Academy. As always, though, don't forget there is plenty of extra learnings, not just the Academy. We have heaps of documentation. We have the support team. We have the YouTube channel. We have videos. We have implementation partners, such as Empire Blueprint and System Fitters and so many more who can really help you get operational with the software. We have one-on-one training and support. Really, there is no reason why you shouldn't be able to get this up and running and get the most out of it. And that's the message here today, is that we have you back. All right. Well, I might actually kick off today. I've got a couple of questions that came in through the week for people who were unable to attend today, but definitely registered for the event, and just had a couple of quick questions around a few things. So I thought I'll just cover those off quickly, and then I'll jump on and see if any more questions come through. So one of the first questions we got when we're starting to announce out the LMS this week is there a plan to bring any more courses in, potentially focused on the how-to guide? rather than the, sorry, not the how-to guide, the why-to guide and the how-to guide rather than the what-to guide. And the short answer to that is absolutely. One of our next step plans with the LMS is we definitely want to provide some information more specific around office user management role and kiosk role, more toned to the idea of, hey, you've set this thing up, so you've built the platform to benefit your business, or you and your team have built the platform to best benefit your business. What then, how do we actually use it? You know what I mean? If I'm an estimator in your business, for example, how can I go in and utilize Jobman's CRM, lead management, and quoting to perform my role with the software in your business? And that's definitely what we want to be able to focus on. Or maybe I'm a scheduler in your what tools do I use in the software? Or I'm a kiosk user. I'm on your manufacturing floor, or installation team, or dispatch team, or on-site team, assembly or cutting, or wherever they sit in your organization. I use the kiosk. How do I use this thing? What are the key benefits that you need me to do every day so that I can help your business? So really exciting. We will be working on those over the next couple of months and bringing those in. So more courses will definitely appear in the software. So keep your eye on there. If you feel like you've got the software running, or you've taken advantage of one of our implementation partners and you're basically fully ready to go and off and running, and you join these webinars just so that you can see new information that comes out. That's cool. Definitely worth jumping on, checking out, because one of the benefits of this new platform is it will make onboarding staff easy. And that's always another concern about software is, as part of a process, when you bring someone into your company, you've got to hand over to them. It's not just about teaching their role in your business and what they do and what they will, perform for the money you're paying them. It's also then how to use the systems and processes and softwares and technologies that you've put in place then to work within your business. So actually having access to these how-to guides and the LMS itself means that the team now can go in and definitely check those out and basically improve the onboarding process, which we're very excited about. So that was a great question. Thank you very much. Absolutely, we intend to expand upon that. Next question we got through after the release of the copy target dates is, are there plans to expand on this functionality? Short answer is absolutely. Now that we've seen the power of improvement from taking information from the parent to work orders, we're definitely considering some other opportunities there. I can't speak to what they are at the moment. However, there are certainly things we are considering, potentially maybe the ability to copy members, so quickly and easily put the same members across, maybe labor centers. There's a few things we can do there. The main thing is the functionality is phenomenal and saving people a lot of time. So if we can expand on that functionality, we're certainly very excited as to be able to utilize that and then step that information in and give you even more use case for it. So now the framework's been built, that should be there. Keep your eye on the release notes. Super exciting. As always, it's one of those great things to see the software getting better and better every week. Price isn't going up, but the value and features out of your platform certainly are improving all the time, which is awesome to see. Can I unreceive from kiosk? I don't believe so currently. One of the things about fixing mistakes is there are some certain information that the kiosk team just isn't aware of. One of the primary ones being how materials have been allocated. So that's sort of like the purchase order and project management idea. Where you are in control of streamlining where best to send your limited resources to get the fastest return of investment on the manufacturer itself. So if that means prioritizing jobs, one job over another, or potentially taking inventory from one point, putting it somewhere else, then that sort of is a decision a little bit above their pay grade. So we've put that functionality in primarily at the moment to the office, but that is not to say that it won't come into the kiosk at some point. But for now, we don't see that as a primary designation to benefit. Non-relational today's webinar, but last webinar, we're using the time and attendance module, and it's fantastic. What are there ideas for companies that don't necessarily integrate their payroll with one of your accounting softwares? Great question. That is an awesome question and something we've certainly been considering. You should notice at the moment that one of the big upgrades we've made as part of the time and attendance module, which is buying back a lot of time for HR and management teams in business, whether they be small or large. We were really excited about that feature release. Is a lot of companies have come back and said, hey, I might use Xero or MYOB or QBO, but I don't actually use it to control my payroll. I've got another system. There's a lot of good payroll systems out there. I know there's one in New Zealand. The name eludes me, which is really bad. I should know what the name is off the top of my head. Well, there's about 22,000 manufacturers who use this just for their payroll. So one of the things we've done is we've updated the payroll reporting to give you a better and easier understanding now. So even if you're not linking out to Xero or QBO or MyOb for your timesheet entries, we want you still to have that information available. So it still will massively improve the process. You can take that data and manually put it in, and we will continue to take on board client feedback around the different systems they use as to how and where maybe we can make that even better. What other information we can put in that report, or if we can even make that report slightly exported. One of the great things about our reporting is they can be exported to CSV. And one of the benefits of that is for most companies, it's not hard to then take that information and put into a generic CSV import. A lot of those I should say a lot of payroll platforms have that capability because they're used to working with other Bundy clock or time and attendance systems. So absolutely being able to export that report and quickly bring that information down. As you've seen on our reporting, it's broken down by staff. We separate the time into normal time, time and a half, and double time, including leave parameters on there as well. So it's a really clean, easy, fantastic report for companies, even if you don't utilize potentially the accounting integration. There is plenty of opportunity there to still use that time and attendance and save hours. I think I don't mind telling you a quick story about this because it's certainly one of my favorite client stories from over the years. We had a company years ago that took on Jobman, and one of the first things they utilized the software for was the idea of this time and attendance and payroll. It wasn't as easy back then. It wasn't one touch like it is now. But what they found was just by having the guys, and the team, and the office staff and the ladies and everyone downstairs involved in the process, measuring the time in Jobman, obviously they got better reporting. But one of the quicker things they were able to achieve was getting them to log their full day. And what that allowed, even for a smaller manufacturer, was buying the company back about an hour and a half a week in HR time. They just had a quick check of the run, quickly, obviously, double check that no one had forgot to log off or anything like that. Not that you have to worry about that now. Thank you, clock off system. But have a conversation with the team, quickly double check that, and in a matter of minutes, their payroll numbers were there. They could enter them and get on with their day. And what was really exciting about them for that as a company is they, being a smaller business, they were pushed for time. Like most companies, very pushed for time. So they had this great system in front of them, but there was not a lot of time outside of their day with which they could actually start getting these processes. That one feature brought back that hour and a half. And then what they did is they dedicated that hour and a half a week instead of doing payroll to then implementing new parts of the software to the business. And they did it gradually. Most companies you want to get it done fast. You want to get your return as quick as possible, and you want to, really collate the method. But sometimes there's an advantage to taking a bit of time, going through, releasing parts at a time, getting the company and the staff used to it, and then moving on, buying back that time and doing the next thing. And they were able to do that. And over what only took them about a year of a little bit of time each week, was they ended up implementing the full software platform throughout their entire business and now manages basically their entire company. They never got more time in their week. They're like you. They didn't have more hours to put in to this platform, but simply that one feature in turn bought them back the time which they could reinvest with some training and some documentation. And they were, happy to invest in for their company because they could see the benefit and just spend that little bit of time each week. And within virtually no time at all, really, when you think about the consistency and lifetime of your business, they were able to get the platform up and running and massively benefit their company today. And they've seen the returns year on, year out from there. So the reason I bring up that story, I was reminded of the other day when they came back to me and they were talking to me about the time and attendance module, and they're like, oh, where was this, a few years ago? But just that idea of that one feature being the thing that could then give you back the time to get more out of the platform or have the time to set it up is such a powerful concept. And it's so unusual in the software space. Most software companies are very much around the idea of, hey, you need to go in and spend $100,000 in 6 months of your life getting this thing up and running. Jobman is not that company. We will always give you the opportunity and as much educational resource and as many partners and paid options as suits your company to where you're comfortable with for the return on investment to make sense for what you're trying to achieve without ever having to force you down one particular path. We just give you the options and say, do not worry, we're here, we've got your back. It's all available at your fingertips for you to be able to step forward and take over the world. So really exciting. I just thought I'd share that story because I certainly enjoyed it. And I want to thank you all so very much for your time. Oh, another question came through. Sorry, I missed that. When you unreceive items for items that are damaged and need to be returned to supplier, can Jobman create a credit note for that item, or do you propose another way to handle this? Absolute phenomenal question. This is something we've been working on in the background. Recently, and we're still deciding the best way to handle it. It is something we'd like to be able to handle. However, there's a bit of an issue, and I'm just going to be honest and transparent with you so that everyone's on the same page about this. And the reason we don't do it currently, because we connect to so many different accounting platforms, each accounting platform, which drives us absolutely nuts, handles credit and adjustment handling in a completely different way, to the point where some accounting platforms don't even handle credit and adjustment handling. Sounds stupid. It's an accounting platform, but they actually don't. They view credits and adjustments as an account feature, not a thing. Like we're not retail. We're not giving you back the money. We're simply applying it to an account. So what that means from our point of view, which is really difficult to manage, is we need to have a system which can connect to them all so that you can achieve these things. And credit handling is one of those big ones we get all the time. And there's just no physical way of us doing it currently that suits all of those companies. So we're having internal discussions about that as to how maybe we can potentially produce the effect without syncing it, maybe, and then at least the numbers line up, and then you might have to go replicate it in your system. We don't want that. We prefer automation. We have taken one really big step towards fixing that problem in Xero, and unfortunately it is Xero alone. Their API allows us to modify invoice amounts now based on credits put into Xero. So one of the cool things that was released a couple of weeks ago, and this is unfortunately is only for Xero clients, which is why we didn't announce it widely. We don't believe in just benefiting one client basis. There's also many. But one of the things you can do now is if you, let's say you have a purchase order bill or an invoice in Xero, and it's come from Jobman, say it's 4,000. If you go into Xero and you need to apply a credit of $200 for a return, or you need to give the client back some money for whatever reason, maybe you give deposit back on your design fees. If you apply that amount to the invoice in Xero, that now will automatically deduct the amount inside Jobman. So when it gets paid, the numbers do line up. So that unfortunately is the only current way of achieving that. We will continue to work and find a solution to this problem. We absolutely do want to be able to handle it, but unfortunately right now, it's just not something, our hands are tied. So we will work out the best way of allowing that in our software. I mean, ultimately, we're not a financial software. That's why accounting software exists, but we do understand people do want visibility around records. They want to be able to see that in Jobman. So when they're looking at, their totals and job values and invoicing and stuff, there is some accountability in the platform itself as to, hey, we bought $10,000, but we returned $500 because something was damaged. Therefore, it was only $9,500 worth spent in here. Again, keep in mind that's not necessarily relevant to a job cost, which is why we're not too stressed about it. It's more of a financial thing because a purchase order generally is for multiple jobs, but we get it. We definitely like the visibility. It's something we'd like to be able to handle. We just don't have a date for you right now simply because there's not an easy way of handling it. If there was, we definitely would have done it. Can you assign materials to orders you're waiting for? Back order and PO orders haven't arrived yet. Craig, that is a phenomenal question. I'm glad you bring that up. One of the most common questions we get as part of our purchase order flow and management is this concept of in transit. Such a powerful thing for a lot of companies, especially when you're talking about delays. Like a lot of your stuff, I understand in most countries in the world is pretty much next day delivery. You order it Friday, it's there Monday, it's fine. But for a lot of regional areas, especially, and a lot of companies that use distributorships, that could be out to a week. And we get it. If you went and bought 200 boards and they're in transit, they're a week away, you sort of want to be able to come inside the job. And as you're allocating those resources, those jobs, I kind of want to pick from there before it's arrived. So look, phenomenal question. And the really exciting answer is I guess the short answer is yes, we will be able to, just not right now. Now, this is something we've, again, been working on in the background quite heavily. It's a big concept that we've wanted to solve in the industry, and we know it solves a big problem. Again, little bit tricky, simply because of the amount of work that has to go into thinking about that flow in a very particular sense. They're not just necessarily purchase order items, they're also purchase order items that are allocated to jobs already. Some component of that may be stock. We do pack handling. We also have automation to supplier orders set up with a couple of suppliers. So there's a lot of moving parts around that to make that work seamlessly. So long story short, absolutely, it is our plan, and it's part and parcel with our plan to release minimum stock quantities in the system as well. That is being worked on right now. So this is one of those few things we don't normally talk about future development because we don't like letting people down. We don't want people to think, oh, Cam said this thing on this date. It's not here yet, but this is one of the things they are definitely working on as a priority in the background to be able to achieve, because we can see the monster benefit on both fronts. So for both credit handling and future allocation of sourcing to purchase order items in transit, the answer is yes, we will be able to handle it, just not right now.